Yo, welcome back to Niner Wire. I'm your host, Sam, and today we are doing NFL season predictions for this upcoming season, which starts moments from now. I am so excited for the season to start. But anyways, we're just going to be going through playoff predictions, standing predictions, award predictions. We're going to break it down to you all right here, and hopefully we'll look back on these at the end of the season, see how right and wrong we are. And for this stream, we got Jake right here. How you doing, Jake?
Good. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since you've been on, but hey, football season's about to start. I mean, I'm looking forward to it as always. So should be a fun episode today. Before I get into it, guys, make sure to follow me on Twitter at NinerWireSam. My Instagram's at NinerWire_YT. Also, guys, we did this on the Brawl Network the other day at Gridiron Brawl. And guys, I gotta tell you, where is the Niners love at? We need a lot more Niners fans to come in. Let's do it, guys. I mean, the comments are just rated by Dolphins fans. But anyways, make sure to check out Gridiron Brawl on the Brawl Network YouTube channel. Also, make sure to check out thebrawlnetwork.com, at Network Brawl, at the Brawl Network on Instagram, and at Gridiron Brawl on both Twitter and Instagram. I should have a new article coming up either on Saturday or Sunday before the game. So make sure to check that out. You're not going to want to miss that. Also, gotta make sure to follow Jake. His Twitter's at FantasyGuruHeart. That might be changing soon, but still give it a follow while you can. His Instagram's at Fantasy Hall Monitor. And make sure to listen to his podcast, Fantasy Hall Monitor, on Podbean. I've been on it multiple times. It's been a blast to be on it, Jake. Really good podcast. If you guys want all the fantasy tips from me or Jake or Julian, who's also on frequently, make sure to check that out. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the live chat below. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So this is how we're doing it today. So it's the same spreadsheet we had on Gridiron Brawl if you were tuning into that. But we're going to go through every division winner right here, or just division standings, playoff predictions right here. And then at the end, we're going to do some awards. And then I didn't ask Jake this, but Jake, you want to give one bold take about at the end other than something that's on our schedule?
Sure.
Predictions?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it then. All right, perfect. I mean, I got a few, but you're gonna see two of my boldest predictions in the standings. So, and I think Jake, you know what they are because I've talked about it a lot. But yeah, but I'll bring another one up for that. So, without further ado, Jake, let's get started with the AFC East. What you got for that?
AFC East, I got New England Patriots. Nothing changing in the AFC East, and that's a bit of a bold pick this year because they did lose Brady, and he is the GOAT, undoubtedly. But I'm going Pats, Bills, Dolphins, Jets. I think you saw the Dolphins do really well. Fought last year when it was obvious they were tanking. And if Fitzpatrick stays along for a little while, even though I love Tua, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. So I'm thinking they play Fitzpatrick first 5-6 weeks, give it over to Tua. I think 5 and 6 games is a pretty safe bet for their team. For the Pats, I mean, I just think that you've got such a good scheme, defense, offensive line scheme. Cam can run behind those guys. And even though the lack of offensive talent, firepower, I mean, you've still got Edelman, you've got James White. I think that Josh Allen's inaccuracy will come back to haunt the Bills.
You see, here's my thing about that. And let me just put it first. I got Bills over the Patriots. And I have the Pats too. And I just don't – I know that you love Cam Newton. I'm not as high as him. I mean, he's gone 0-8 in his last 8 starts. When he could have came back last year, but the Panthers decided not to activate him. And that just really concerned me. And going into a new system with only, 2-3 months of knowing the system, it concerns me a little bit. Plus, you lost a lot of guys on defense like Hightower, Chung, Van Noy, Collins. That entire linebacker starting core from last year, all gone. And that definitely concerns me a lot, especially when you're going against running backs and tight ends. I mean, they're not the AFC East doesn't have the best running backs, but then you got the NFC West who you're playing this year, and the AFC West. While we're talking about that, you got face guys like Josh Jacobs, George Kittle. There's a ton of other guys I could go on and on about, but you got to make sure how to stop those guys. And the linebacker core, I think the lack of a linebacker core is going to haunt the Patriots this year. So I see them finishing second. Third, I got Miami. I like their team a lot. I don't think they're ready yet. I think there's a lot of offensive line woes that they need to figure out. And then the Jets fourth. And I mean, without Mosley or Adams, I just don't see this team doing well at all. So, yeah, that's what I got for AFCs. You got anything to add on to that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't talk about them much, but the Jets, I think they're kind of lost this year. And they made some O-line additions, but nothing big enough to really push them forward this season. Because, I mean, they got Becton, which should be a building block. But like you said, those losses on defense and no additions in the receiving core, that's going to be a tough thing to overcome. Rashad Perry is not an alpha.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a lot in the draft. We love Denzel Mims, but rookie receivers, it's always kind of hard for them to step it up. So,
and he's injured right now.
Oh, he is? I didn't even know that.
Mims and Perryman are questionable or doubtful for week 1. It's going to be the Crowder.
That's even worse, man. And they're going to get slaughtered by Buffalo. So, I mean, yeah, I just don't see the Jets doing well this year at all. All right, moving on. AFC North. Jake, what you got for this?
AFC North, shaking it up a bit. Not at the top, but I'm going Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I know in the past I've been a big Ben Juju fan, but I think that Cleveland made the necessary changes this offseason, really focused on improving that O-line. I think their defense it was very young last year. They should improve. And the Steelers, though they have a lockdown defense, and I think they could make the playoffs still, I don't think that they're going to even win the division or come in second. I think it's going to be really tight. They could both see themselves finish in that 8 to 10 win range. That puts them both competitive in the playoffs. But I think Ravens, I mean, that defense is dominant. You've got an offensive scheme that's crazy good. Unless they get somehow figured out, which I think is down the road for them, not quite this year, they're going to win the division. And the Bengals starting Burrow, I think it's optimistic that they win 5 or 6 games, but I think that's pushing it.
Yeah, for sure. Only change I got in this standings for me. So I got the Ravens 1. I mean, I don't see how they might slow down a little bit. Not going to be that much though. They're going to come back with a vengeance after their game. And now we get to my first bold prediction. The Steelers too. That's not the bold prediction. The bold prediction is that I have them with the second best record in the AFC, ahead of Kansas City. I love this team so much. Last year they went 9-7 with Mason Rudolph at quarterback. And now you get Big Ben back, who I think is definitely a great quarterback in my opinion, obviously. And you got Big Ben back. You got Juju still, who's going to improve a lot. Deontay Johnson, breakout candidate right there. And you keep that elite defense that you have. Plus, you also get another guy who I really like, Chase Claypool. There's a lot of weapons on both sides of the ball, plus a strong offensive line. I think this team has everything going for them. I have them with the second best record in the AFC, just behind the Ravens, second who are first in the division. Steelers second, Browns third. I like the Browns a lot this year. They definitely improved, as you said, where they needed to. So I got the Browns in third. And then the Bengals last. I don't see how they're going to be better than either of these 3 teams. Plus, I don't know how Joe Burrow is going to do. Also, adding on to that, there are reports out of camp that Auden Tate has been the best receiver on this team. And that concerns me because you got guys like John Ross, Tyler Boyd, AJ Green. They all should be better than Auden Tate.
I mean, the problem with camp, though, is that there's been so many injuries. John Ross, kind of injured right now. AJ Green is a 32-year-old with a lower body injury. But
he said he's at 100% today.
Yeah, of course that's what he said. It's probably not true for all of camp. I mean, he wants people to believe that going into the season. That's
all right. I mean, that's fair. I mean, Tyler Boyd, though, it might just be Auden Tate just impressing everyone and balling out, but I feel like this team has a lot of holes to fit. Plus, I don't know, did I send you that video of literally the entire Bengals defensive line chasing Joe Burrow? And there was no dude. I mean, that just that video right there, that's a bit concerning. I know the Bengals offensive line was terrible last year. So you got to get Jonah Williams obviously this is his first year in the NFL after last year's injury. Got to step it up. Also, the entire offensive line really got to step it up if they want to do well this year. But like you said, I think you're looking at 4 to 5 wins maybe for this team. So, yeah, you got anything else to add on to that?
No, that's pretty much it for me. I'd say, I mean, I'm more, as I said, more optimistic than most on Cleveland. I think they're going to break through. They had a lot of changes last year, which created a lot of hype, but I think this is they're kind of the post-hype sleeper of a team.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I think I said they're not going to do well as Ravens or Steelers. Third place in that division, not that bad in my opinion. And spoiler alert, I do have them as a wild card team. So, yeah. All right, AFC South. This is always the one that gets really interesting. So I want to hear what you got.
I'm going Houston, number 1. Easy for me. Indianapolis.
Easy for you. Okay, Tennessee, we'll have to talk about that.
Jacksonville. So just to start this out, I said easy. I just believe looking at this division, you have Deshaun Watson and you have everyone else. And yes, their defense is terrible this season, especially their secondary. I mean, teams are going to be throwing the ball over and over and over again. But I think Deshaun Watson can overcome that, and he'll get a lot of wins. He'll just on his own. He'll pass. He's got the Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, Kenny Stills. I mean, you're looking at a lot of guys who can play those field stretcher roles. David Johnson in the running game, if he can revive his career. I think that this offense could be potent, and all the defense needs to do is hold them off a little bit. I mean, you're looking at the Colts who, I mean, Phillip Rivers was terrible last year. And I understand that the Chargers O-line was a problem and the Colts is definitely not. But I don't think that he's going to take a leap forward by any means. I think they would be very happy to see him only regress a little bit at his age and what he did last year. I mean, they've got a lot of things going for them, so that's why I put them ahead of the Titans. Solid defense, solid O-line, like I said. They've got a decent receiving core. I mean, it's kind of T.Y. and then a step down in the rest, Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman Jr., and Zach Pascal. I'm a big fan of Paris Campbell, but he's not going to be a 1,200-yard receiver by any means. And
yeah, for sure.
T.Y., you saw what happened to that receiving core when he got injured. It kind of got blown to dust. I mean, you saw Pascal as the X receiver who he shouldn't be the X. I mean, it's like the Bengals with Auden Tate last year. It just kind of fell apart. I see them kind of being an 8-8, maybe 9-7 team. I kind of doubt it though. Titans. I think they went backwards from last season, and
really
them expecting to pick up where they left off with Tannehill playing at the level that he hasn't in his entire career, and with a worse O-line, and they still didn't really improve their receiving core. I mean, it just doesn't make sense for me to put them far ahead and just assume that they're going to improve when they didn't really improve. Jacksonville, I mean, I don't know if I need to say anything. They're tanking. Yeah. They're tanking.
Yeah, for sure. I'm surprised by Texans easy. That definitely caught me off guard. I got the Titans one, and you said they went backwards last year. I think their team is going to be worse than last year, but their record is going to be better, if you kind of get what I'm saying there.
Yeah.
Tannehill not going to do as well, but I like the addition of Isaiah Wilson on that offensive line. I think that really is that's going to fill the loss of Conklin in really well. So I think their offensive line is going to do really well. Derrick Henry, we know how good he is. Darrington Evans, I like that draft pick. Receiving core still the same, but I think A.J. Brown is going to do really well. And then on the defensive line, you had Clowney, who, in my opinion, is overrated, but I think he definitely could do really well in Tennessee. The loss of Jarrell Casey, I think that's going to be a huge loss for them. But then you can bring in a guy like Jeffrey Simmons, play up the middle. Harold Landry going to ball out there. I like Harold Landry a lot. And then in the cornerback, they lost Logan Ryan. They added Christian Fulton. I really like Christian Fulton going into the draft. I had a first-round grade on him, and he fell pretty far back. So I think that's a really good addition for the Titans, and I think they're going to do well in this AFC South division, which is usually a bloodbath because of the teams are always so close to each other. So I think the Titans are going to come out on top. Colts are going to finish second, very close. I really like the Colts all around, except quarterback, and I think Philip Rivers is going to hurt the Colts a lot this year. And that's why I have them just below the Titans. But I love their defense, love their offensive line, love Jonathan Taylor. Their receivers are pretty good. I think Ty is probably one of my favorite receivers this year for fantasy. So I got the Colts second. Third, Texans. And yes, they lost Hopkins. And usually when you lose a wide receiver, I don't really care that much. But then when your entire receiving core is injury prone and your like key defensive guys are injury prone and they have one of the worst defenses in the league, it just really scares me. Plus David Johnson, another injury prone guy on your team as your running back. So I there's just too much concern with them for me to put them first. I do think they'll do well. And I think the Titans, Colts, and Texans, you could really put any of those guys, any of those teams as the division winners, in my opinion. Jacksonville last, I don't need to say anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, going back on your point, I understand the Texans pick low, but for me, if I'm picking a game, Texans versus Colts, Texans versus Titans, Texans versus Jags, I think they could do really well in their division, and that's a big part of their record. Like if they go 5-1, or even 4-2, I mean that's a big head start on all the other teams in the division. If they go 1-1 against the Titans or 2-0 against the Colts, like I don't see them losing too many games like that where they're going to be close. And when it comes down to it, it's Tannehill versus Deshaun Watson or Deshaun Watson versus Philip Rivers. And I think that Deshaun Watson's going to come out on top.
Yeah, no, I totally get that point. Definitely Deshaun Watson is the better quarterback than Philip Rivers. But I think when you just look at the team all around, Colts, Texans, I think you got to give the upper hand to the Colts because I think it's a lot easier to lead. It's a lot. Personally, for me,
how much of an improvement do you think that Rivers is over Brissett at this point in his career?
It's not much of an improvement, but I was about to get to my point. I'd rather have a great team and a mediocre quarterback than a great quarterback and a mediocre team. Because I feel like that just I feel like you're going to do better with that.
I feel like you would know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, oh, okay. But I mean, yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah. All right. You got anything else to say about that?
No, I think that's shared my thoughts thusly.
All right, perfect. So then let's move on to the AFC West. Now, your Raiders are in this division, and I'm going to assume that the Chiefs are first.
Yeah, I'm going. So a couple things have happened in the last few days where I had to adjust my rankings because honestly, I did have the Raiders third. But I'm going to go Chiefs. Now I'm going Raiders second, Chargers, and then Denver. I do think this is going to be a very close division with some hotly contested games. But as I've said in some other either podcasts or I'm pretty sure videos in your channel, I'm not a big believer in Drew Lock. And I don't think that he's maybe not this year. Maybe he breaks out next year, but I just don't see it this year. He's got such a young offense, and they got some young offensive linemen. They did get some help in the running game, which is nice with Gordon and who's the guard they got? No, guard.
Oh, is it Glasgow?
Yeah, Glasgow.
Isn't that the tackle?
I thought Glasgow was the number one run blocking. It might have been tackle.
I think he's a tackle, yeah.
In free agency, and that was a big addition for him. But
yeah, definitely.
I mean, they lost Von Miller, leader of that defense.
Sutton might be out for a bit too. After
we don't really know what Bradley Chubb is going to do yet. They lost Chris Harris Jr. I think it's safe to say that they're going to finish in probably one of the bottom two spots, unless Drew Lock makes a big run and proves that he's a superstar. Chargers, Tyrod Taylor, I think has a much better shot. I'm not a Herbert fan. So I think that if they stick with him and give him the keys to the offense to run the game his way, I mean, you saw the Bills consistently finish with a very solid defense and not much on the offensive side other than LaShawn McCoy. You saw them finish consistently 8-8, 9-7. I think you could see a season like that for the Chargers. But if they start 3-5 or something, or maybe even earlier than that, if they start 2-4, I could see them taking Herbert as the starter, and then season just going kind of downhill from there. Derwin James, obviously, big injury too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think personally for me, the Derwin James injury, I had the Chargers in second place all along this offseason. The Derwin James injury just kills them on defense. Like their team was a lot worse without Derwin James. Plus, I feel like we'll talk about it later, but I mean, like Braden said right here, AFC West is going to be really close this year. So should be very interesting to watch. I don't think the first spot's going to be close. The Chiefs are going to win that with ease. And then the second spot, you could really give it to any of those three teams. But I know Raiders fans have been giving me a ton of shit for hating on their team. I think it's going to be
close. I think bottom to top, it's like you're looking at the second place team probably 8-8, and the fourth place team either 5-11 or 6-10. But that's relatively close as divisions go these days.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I was saying, Raiders fans, they've been giving me a ton of shit for hating on their team. So Raiders fans, here you go. I got the Raiders in second place. I think people are forgetting that they were close to making the playoffs last year, just missed out. And I think I love their offensive line, their run game. I love Josh Jacobs this year. I think he's going to have an amazing season. Their defense, in my opinion, did get better. Max Crosby should do a lot better. Corey Littleton. That's a huge addition right there. Another addition that I really like, Damon Arnett. A lot of people said they reached on him. Personally, I don't care if they reached on him or not. I love that pick for the Raiders. I think that guy has John Gruden written all over him. I think he's going to excel in Las Vegas. Quarterback receivers.
Dominant. He's been dominant at camp.
Yeah, exactly. Plus Bryan Edwards too. Another guy who's been absolutely dominant at camp. I think there's a lot of positives for the Raiders, and you could be looking at a sleeper wildcard team in Las Vegas. Quarterback's really the only question there. But kind of like what I said about the Colts, I'm not too concerned. I personally like Carr over Phillip Rivers. So, yeah. All right, third place. I got the Broncos in third. I'm more of a believer in Drew Lock than you are. I just like the weapons that he has. He has a ton of opportunity to succeed there. Their defense is still going to be decent. It's definitely going to be worse without Von Miller, and I think they lose that leadership aspect. As I said a lot on the Gridiron Brawl stream, they lose a leadership aspect, but I do think they're going to do really well this year. A lot of weapons on offense, good O-line, good solid secondary with Boye, Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons, right?
Yeah, safety.
Justin Simmons, love that guy. Bradley Chubb will be back. They got Jarrell Casey from the Titans. I think that's a great addition for them. And then last place, Chargers. This was really close. I had them second all along. The loss of Derwin James hurts a lot, and I don't know how their quarterback situation is going to be or their offensive line situation. So I got them in fourth place. But the 2, 3, and 4 spots should be a bloodbath. So you guys are definitely going to want to stay tuned for that when watching the NFL this season.
Are we doing the next division, or are we predicting all the way to the Super Bowl for AFC?
Let's just do we did on Gridiron Brawl where we did the playoff predictions, but if you want to do NFC standings predictions, we can do that. What do you want to do?
No preference. I got all my stuff written down now. So
all right, perfect. Let's just do AFC playoff predictions. So how about you start it off right now?
Okay, number 1 seed, reigning Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. I think it would be very unlikely to see them go anything other than 6-0 in the division. Which makes it really tough for other teams to compete where, I mean, you look at the Texans and like I said, they could lose 1 or 2 to those teams where it's going to be competitive. Ravens have to play the Steelers and the Browns. Pats have to play the Bills. I think the Chiefs have an immense advantage where, I mean, do you disagree that I don't see them losing to the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders and
I would not be, the thing is, I would not be surprised to see them lose one game, maybe to the Chargers. I love the Chargers D still, and I think that their defense can stop that Kansas City offense. So I think you could see one loss to the Chargers or the Raiders or the Broncos, but 6-0 is definitely reasonable. I'm not denying that, but I would not be surprised to see if they lost one game.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little tough because in a lot of my divisions when I was doing the record breakdowns, I had it being really close. So I do have Baltimore in as my 2 seed, but I'll say that it'll likely be with either a 12-4 or an 11-5 record, one of those lower seeds, unlike the NFC last year where you saw it was two 13-3s at 1 and 2, and then like 12-4 teams were being slotted in lower. But this year, I feel like for the AFC, it's going to be very, very close, and teams aren't going to have these crazy advantages. 3rd seed, Houston Texans. Like I said before, I'm a big believer in if you can dominate your division, you're going to get that big lead. And the Pats, I have 4th just because I think it's going to be very close between them and the Bills. It's kind of a coin flip for me, where if Josh Allen can prove himself as that elite starter that the Bills need, they'll win the division. But if not, the Pats system will take them to a division title.
Yeah, I got that.
And then going into wild cards, pretty straightforward, like what you could expect. Going Bills, 5 seed, Cleveland, 6 seed, and then Pittsburgh, 7 seed. I think that the AFC North is going to dominate out of division games, and they're going to end up having 3 teams in the playoffs. The AFC South and AFC West, I just see them being too close and competitive, where, like I said, you're going to see a lot of teams with 7-9, 6-10 records, and that just doesn't brew for a good playoff run for these teams that need to win games in division because they can't win. They're not going to beat the Ravens, or they're not going to beat the Niners in the NFC.
Yeah, definitely. And I think my only thing with these predictions is, you know, let me just get into mine. I definitely think that for what you have as your division winners, I think that's a great. I actually really like that. I would say the Steelers over the Browns, but obviously you don't have that. But anyways, let me get into mine. So for the 1st seed, I have the Ravens. I think they're going to do really well this year. You're looking at 13-3 in my opinion. They have one of the, I was surprised that you said like, oh, I have the Ravens at like 11-4, or is 11-5 or 12-4. And I think they're going to do better than that. I mean, they have one of the easiest schedules in football this year, or if not the easiest schedule in football this year. And they're one of the best teams in the NFL. So I think, you look at all their difficult matchups. Kansas City, that's a home game. Dallas, I think that's a home game. Philadelphia is not a home game. That's on the road, I believe. I might be wrong about this, but so Dallas is a home game. Philadelphia is a road game. New England, that's on the road, but New England's going to be worse this year, in my opinion. So I feel like Baltimore has a really easy schedule. I think they're going to cruise to that 1st seed. And I might as well just put it in the 5 seed right now. Pittsburgh, another team with an easy schedule. I got them at this 5 seed, 2nd best record in the AFC. That's why I have them there. Really, just the easy schedule. Although their division is tough, I think they can handle that really well. So, yeah. All right, 2 seed. I got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're definitely better than the next 2 teams I have, which are the Titans and the Bills. But Kansas City, again, like you said, in the AFC West, I should be able to easily win that division. Maybe 6-0 record is going to help them a lot. So, yeah. 13, I got the Bills. I like their team a lot this year. Weak AFC East, I think that's going to help them a lot. I've already talked about the Bills a lot. So, yeah. And then Titans at the 4th seed. Again, bloodbath in the AFC South. So, I think Titans will come in 4th. After the Steelers at 5, I got the Cleveland Browns like you do. Again, easy schedule. I mean, the AFC North, really all the teams have such an easy schedule there, I feel like, besides the division games. So I feel like they're going to do really well this year, and they're going to make the playoffs for the first time since, 2000, I think it is. Something like that. Time. It's been 2 days. I think the last time they made the playoffs, I wasn't even alive yet, that's kind of crazy to think. So, and then the 7th seed, I was deciding between the Colts and Texans, and I'm going to go Colts. I put them ahead of the Texans. I kind of described why back then, so make sure to rewind the video and do that if you want to hear why I have the Colts as the 7th seed. So, yeah, you got any thoughts on mine?
I think it's solid. I mean, it was a lot of things I was in the middle on. I think the Titans are the one real team that we disagreed on, where we had them 2 spots different. You have them winning the division. And I mean, it's all going to come down to on quarterback play, Tannehill. And I mean, that defense has been solid for years. You know what you're getting. And it's going to be, can Henry keep that momentum with a worsened offensive line? And can Tannehill consistently pass with still only A.J. Brown as a real threat in the passing game? And
yeah, for sure.
I think that those signs point to having a much worse season. But
yeah, definitely. I want you to answer Braden's question right here. Would you put the Steelers and Browns higher than the Pats if the Pats had the same record but did not win the East?
Wait, okay. So are you saying which team do I think is better?
Yeah, I think that's basically what he's trying to say.
I'm going to say that they're very similar. I would probably put the Browns higher slightly and the Steelers slightly lower with the Pats slotted in the middle.
That's fair. I mean, I love the Steelers, so I obviously disagree with that. But
I just think that it's going to take Big Ben a little time to get going. I mean, that offensive line is pretty injury prone at this point, and I know how good they are when they are healthy.
It's a strong offensive line, though. You can't deny that.
No, they're good when they're healthy. I said that. I mean, they've been good for forever. James Conner is the single most injury prone player in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't trust their running situation at all. So, I mean, I'm really relying on their receivers and Big Ben to do well. And I think that's why a lot of people have them down. They're not trusting Big Ben. So, yeah. All right. Let's move on to the playoff, the game predictions for you, Jake. So we got 2v7, 3v6, 4v5, and then put your championship teams here and who wins the AFC championship. Let's hear it.
2v7, Baltimore. I think they're going to handle them in this game. They've seen the Steelers twice already this season. It's going to be a probably 10 to 20 point victory. I don't think it's going to be that close. 3-6, Houston, Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to march into Houston with a victory.
I like that pick a lot.
I think that the Texans, like I said, they're going to win their division purely based on being slightly the best team. And I don't have anyone else from the AFC South in the playoffs, which just demonstrates how bad I think that division truly is. And I think the Browns are going to come in, and it's going to be a tight game. Deshaun's not going to let it get out of his hands, but I think the Browns are going to win it. And then Bills, Pats, Bills. I think they choked in the playoffs last year, but they'll come back and they'll beat the Patriots, who, like I've said, they've seen and have a shot against.
And adding on to that, I just want to say they play the Patriots week 16. And I mean, that's so close together. And I think the Bills, first of all, I have the Bills winning that game. And I think they're going to build off of that and beat the Patriots, go back to New England, beat the Patriots again. So I think I like that pick right there. And I love the Browns Texans pick. There you go. That's the right move if those two teams are playing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Championship team number 1, definitely Kansas City. I think I'm not very adventurous in that way. I think that Patrick Mahomes is definitely the best player in the sport right now. He's easily going to take his team there. And then my sleeper train continues. Cleveland Browns. I have them going to the AFC Championship.
There you go. I mean, you'll see in my predictions, but I don't have the Ravens doing too well in the playoffs either. Spoiler alert. So you got. Oh wait, no. Hold on, no. I don't think you can do that because it's Browns Chiefs and Bills Ravens based on what you predicted earlier.
No, the 1 seed plays the 4 versus 5.
No, they play the lowest seed, and the Browns are the 6th seed.
Oh, so because they lost? Okay,
yeah, so it's Chiefs. Yeah.
Kansas City, and then I'm going to go Baltimore.
Safe.
Forgot about that seeding thing. I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and then AFC champ.
AFC champ, Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think that it's going to be ridiculously competitive between the Ravens and the Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs are just better.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the Chiefs a lot over the Ravens. So, yeah. All right, my predictions: 2v7, Chiefs Colts. I got Kansas City winning that. Again, I said I don't really like the Colts this year. I do have them sliding into the playoffs, so I think Kansas City handily beats them. Bills and Browns. I like the Bills in this game a lot. I think Bills Mafia is going to be out for this one. We'll probably have fans we may have a lot more fans in stadium, and I think they're going to be loud, rowdy. They're going to be ready for this game, and I think the Bills are the better team than the Browns, so that's why I got them there. And 4v5 Titans Steelers, I'm going to continue the Steelers hype train. I got the Steelers winning that game over the Tennessee Titans. Now for my championship team, first, so you got Kansas City, Buffalo, Ravens, Steelers. First team, Kansas City. Can't go wrong there. I think they're going to keep it up. Second team, Steelers hype train is continuing. I have the Steelers over the Ravens. And you said that it would be like a 20-point win for the Ravens. I disagree. I think the Steelers, I think they're going to they've played the Ravens twice already. I bet they lose one or both of those games. They're going to be ready to come back, figure it out. And I think they're going to do really well and make the AFC Championship game. Plus, it's kind of hard to doubt Mike Tomlin personally for me. So I got him in the AFC Championship game. But I think the road ends in the AFC Championship game. And like you, I have the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl. So you got any thoughts on anything about that?
I mean, not a ton to disagree with. I think the Steelers, you're a lot bigger on Big Ben, and I think it's going to be tough to make a late season push, especially with his injuries now.
True. I guess
going
you can
through
say
the whole
that.
season. Honestly, it might benefit him if he gets sat a little bit in the middle of the season. You have some games where you blow him out and you don't have to endure 4 hard quarters for 16 games. Just because their defense is so good that some games you're going to be able to put up 20 points easy and then not need to put up anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, again, Chiefs, I think, are the easiest, best team in the AFC.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Even though the record might not say it, I think they're going to do it and head back to the Super Bowl. So, all right, we are a little less than halfway through the stream. We got to do some NFC, and then we got to do the awards. Let's get rolling right through it so we can be on time for the game. Jake, what you got for the NFC East?
NFC East, that's Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Dallas, New York, Philadelphia, Washington.
Wow, New York is the 2 seed. Really?
I know that. I mean, they have such a tough schedule to start out the year. I think that they're going to win. I mean, I would have to pull it up to check their actual schedule, but I think they're going to turn it around, and they have one of the easiest second half schedules. So they're going to get some momentum going in and pull off it. Yeah, they start out Pittsburgh, Chicago, SF, LA, Dallas, which is really tough. But then going Washington, Philly, and then you've got Washington, Philly, Cincinnati. I think they've got a real shot.
I mean, that's really surprising to me because everyone on the Gridiron Brawl stream put the Giants in last place. So let's just start off with that. I also have the Giants in last place.
The football team.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So football team third, Eagles second, Cowboys first. And let me break it down. So Cowboys I have as the 1 seed. I think they're they're so talented. I feel like they have a lot of talent on the team. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, they're never going to do it." They're going to have a pretty good year this year, in my opinion. I think this could be the year. Now you bring in Mike McCarthy, a competent head coach. I really like that hire. You got CeeDee Lamb. Secondary is going to be a bit of woes there, but I think that's fine. But offensively, there's a lot of weapons. I really like the Cowboys this year, and I think they're going to win the division. Eagles second. I don't think you can really doubt Carson Wentz. Really, I don't see them being worse than than Washington or New York. I mean, yes, there's the injury history, and they have a lot of injuries on their team. But I mean, last season they won a division with such an injury-riddled team. So I'm going to have them finishing second. Now, the Giants I have in last place, and I don't see why they would finish any higher. I mean, their receiving core is really unproven. They have Saquon, yes, but
Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate, how are they unproven?
Unproven is maybe the wrong word. Mediocre is probably a bit better, in my opinion.
I mean, you've got Evan Engram, a slightly improved O-line.
Evan Engram injury prone, but I do like Evan Engram. Their O-line did get a bit better. And Daniel Jones, I think, will improve. Yeah, it's the offense improved. It's the defense that really concerns me. Their linebacker core is still a mess. Blake Martinez, that's not going to help, in my opinion. Their defensive line, I don't really know anyone on that defensive line besides Leonard Williams, who was terrible with them. last year. And then the secondary, I mean, McKinney's out for is he out for the season? He's out for a while, though.
They got Bradbury, though.
Yeah, I mean, they got Bradbury, and they got Logan Ryan, which I like, but
and Peppers
I don't. There. Logan Ryan is really overrated. James Bradbury, I like that addition. But
Jabril Peppers, safety, strong.
Who?
Jabril Peppers. He's still there, right?
He's still there, but he's okay. I mean, they drafted another. What? He played well, but I mean, they drafted another safety. A strong you said he was a strong safety. They just drafted a strong safety in the draft. But I mean, their linebacker core and their front seven just really kills it for me. I think personally for me in the NFL, you need a good I would much rather have a better front seven than a better secondary. And I just don't see them doing well. And the reason I have Washington higher is I like Washington a lot this year. Kind of adding on to my point right there. I like their defensive line, in my opinion, is a top 5 defensive line in football. And the rest of the defense, that's a whole nother story. Their defensive line is going to put them over the top against the Giants. Not by much, but it will put them over the top.
Their offense was borderline unwatchable last season. And what did they do to improve?
They brought in Ron Rivera, who's a good coach. They changed up the culture, obviously, as everyone pretty much knows that. They got McLaurin. They got Antonio Gibson. I really like that addition. What were you saying?
They had McLaurin last year.
Yeah, but he's going to improve this year is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it doesn't – if Dwayne – I mean, are you a Haskins truther?
I mean, we have to see – there's a lot of question marks in that offense, and I'm not going to deny that. There's a lot of question marks in this offense. Both Washington and New York are not good teams. I'm just going to say right there. I think Washington's defensive line really just does put it over the top. Defensive line puts it over the top for me. Their offensive line, I mean, their offense is still a mess, but I think it's going to do a bit better than last year. I mean, it's hard to tell at this point, but I think the Washington defensive line puts it over the top for me, and I think the Washington football team will be better than the Giants. And this is another one of my bold predictions, not for this year, but in 2 years from now, I have Washington as a Super Bowl contender. I think they're on the right track right now.
This year, I don't understand who is he going to throw the ball to. At this point, their number 2 receiver is Steven Sims. What? Steven Sims is 5'8" and not fast? What is his appeal? Who's their tight end? That's not like me testing.
Yeah, there are a lot of
tight end.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there are a lot of questions, but you also, I mean, you got McLaurin, you got Antonio Gibson, and they also got Antonio Gandy-Golden, who was a guy we were so high on in the draft. I love that addition for them. I think he's going to help out this way.
I was very high on him, and I still believe that he could be good. But I've heard that he has not been great. He's got solid catch point and contested catch ability, but he doesn't have burst. He's not super fast. His hands are meh. He's not going to be an impact. He's a project.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I think as I keep saying, the Washington defensive line puts it over the top for me. In my opinion, yes, there's a ton of question marks with that team, both teams, I should say. But I think either way, the last 2 spots will be between Washington and the Giants. And I also want to hear Eagles in third.
Well, first, I think the Reds or the football team will be lucky to win 3 or 4 games. Like extremely lucky. Eagles in third. This is another one where I think it's going to be really close between the Giants and the Eagles, and the Giants are just going to nudge them out with a late season push. I think you could see the Giants winning both those matchups against the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles improved their receiving core from last year somewhat by drafting Rieger and getting Deshaun Jackson back, but Alshon's on the PUP. Rieger is now doubtful and probably injured a couple weeks at least. And Deshaun Jackson is what? In his 30s, and he's played 1 game over the past 2 years? Or in each of the last 2 years. I don't remember. It was one of those. And I love Miles Sanders, big believer in him. But they lost Brandon Brooks, and they have Peters back at left tackle, right? They're moving him now.
Yeah, they put Peters back there.
I'm just concerned about that. Darius Slade doesn't fix their whole secondary. I think that there's a lot to be done for the Eagles. to become competitive. I mean, they won their division last year, but were they really a competitive team? I would say no.
Yeah. I just want to bring up some news that just came out really quickly. Not big news, but Quinn Nelson missed practice today with a back injury, and Anthony Costanzo, is it Costanzo, their tackle? He was limited. Ryan Kelly was limited. So bit of concern for the Colts coming for week 1. Just wanted to bring that up. Nothing that doesn't impact my predictions at all. Colts are playing the Jaguars. Are going to easily win that game. So, yeah. All right, moving on to the NFC North. And this, I'm going to start off this one because this is, you guys, some people hate me for this. Some people love me for this. I got the Detroit Lions in first place in this division. And I love their offense this year. Their defense improved a lot. And I think in the NFC North, which is a fairly weak division, in my opinion, I think they have everything it takes to succeed. Offense, defense, that might be, there's definitely a lot of question marks there, but I'm going to buy into the defensive hype. I love Jeff Okudah. Jamie Collins, I thought that was a great addition for them. They still got a solid defensive line. So I think the Lions are going to do really well this year, and I have them in first place in the NFC North, closely followed by the Minnesota Vikings in second place. I don't think you can really doubt them. Yes, they got Kirk Cousins. They still got Thielen. Their defense did get it's kind of hard to say if it got worse or not, because I like whoever they drafted. I forget who. There's some guy there who they drafted as the defensive lineman. Was it Matabuki?
I don't think so.
All right, they drafted a defensive tackle that I really liked.
Oh, no, the Vikings drafted Matabuki.
Yeah, Vikings, exactly.
Oh, that's what I was saying. I thought you said Lions. Yeah.
Oh, no. Vikings on Matabuki. I really liked him. They got Ngakoue, obviously, with that trade. And then they got their linebacker quarterback. And then they added Jeff Gladney and Cam Dantzler, the two cornerbacks I was so high on the draft, along with Okudah. And I am so excited to see them play in Minnesota. Justin Jefferson, the receiving core is a bit concerning me. Justin Jefferson hasn't looked good in camp so far. Yes, they got Thielen.
They're lining up Irv Smith in the slot, and they have Olabisi Johnson outside.
Yeah, and also, who was I going to say? Adam Thielen. A lot of people are hyping him up. I'm not hyping him up that much. I think yes, he's a good receiver. I'm not going to deny that. But last year he had such a down year, so I don't know if he's going to bounce back from that. So I got the Vikings in second. Third, I got the Packers. Frankly, I thought last year's 13-3 season was a complete fluke. They didn't improve at all this offseason. In my opinion, they got worse this offseason. So I got the Packers in third. Bears fourth. I can't trust the quarterback situation there. So that's why I got the Bears in fourth place.
Yeah, for me, this is another one where all these teams are very good. I think each of them
definitely
has enough merits to make the playoffs. I'm going to go, and again, that makes it tough just because if each of them is good enough to make the playoffs, like in the NFC West, it means that probably only one, maybe two will, because they're going to play each other and it's going to even out. Top team, Detroit.
You said you're going Detroit as well?
I have it written down on my sheet.
Man, there you go. Finally, someone agrees with me. Everyone's been bashing me for that, and now finally I get someone who agrees with me, man.
Yeah,
thank you.
Prediction. So Detroit, then I don't understand Green Bay third, Green Bay second, and then Minnesota, and Chicago. But again, I think it's going to be very tight. I don't understand how you put Aaron Rodgers third. Has he finished third ever?
Yes. Last year. Oh, sorry, 2018.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, because the Bears made the playoffs. I forgot.
Yeah. 2018 finished third. Last year, yes, he was better, but he didn't.
He said he didn't hear him this offseason. He said his arm doesn't hurt for the first time in like 15 years.
What did you said? What point were you bringing back at the beginning of the show with? Oh, the AJ Green. He said that with his hamstring. It's finally at 100%. And then you said of course he's going to say that
this week.
And I'm going to say that to you again. I'm going to say that right back to you. Aaron Rodgers. You might not be able to believe that considering it's him. He's obviously going to say that. But I just see I just don't know why. I just think I just don't like where the Packers are going this year. And I think it's just hard for me to put them ahead of Minnesota. And yeah, I just don't see. They just got worse in my opinion, and I'm looking at a 9-7 record for them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that any of these teams could make the playoffs easily. Like,
oh yeah,
it would not surprise me at all to see the Bears in the playoffs or the Vikings. So I don't really need to differentiate. I think that Lions are going to be number one, and then the rest of them are going to be very tightly packed. And I think one of the other ones is going to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think we'll get into that later, but at least two of these teams are going to the playoffs, in my opinion. And it will be very interesting to see which of these two teams are those teams. So, all right, let's move on to the NFC South. We are half an hour away from kickoff. So, Jake, let's try to wrap this up fairly soon so we can all get to the game. But take your time. As always, NFC South, what you got?
This one, not a competition for me. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina. I believe in Tampa Bay. And I think that the Saints are going to be easy, close number 2 behind them. I don't really need to defend my position. And then the Falcons and Panthers, I kind of believe are non-contenders. As good as the Falcons used to be, they're just not there right now.
I wouldn't call the Falcons non-contenders, but I don't think they're good enough to be a playoff team. Anyways, I got Saints 1, Bucks 2. And a lot of people are buying the Bucks hype, and I am buying it, but not the offensive side. I think the offense is not going to be as good as people are saying. It's the defense that sells me on everything. And I mean, you got top 3 defensive line, in my opinion, or top 3 front 7, I should say. I love their secondary. Definitely got a lot better. In my opinion, they added Antoine Winfield, who I was really high on in the draft. So yeah, that's why I got the Bucks second. I don't know if their offense is going to do as well. The Saints, who by the way, the Saints got a lot better this offseason. They got Sanders. Their defense stayed intact. So I think they're going to do really well this year. I can hear a lot of feedback, as I was saying, from you, I feel like, for some reason.
There's no sound on my end.
All right, it just went away again. As soon as it's weird. It just comes back on and off. Anyways, third, I got the Falcons. I don't see them as contenders, and I really only have them in third because they're not the Carolina Panthers, who I have in fourth. And frankly, the only reason that the Panthers are playing football this season is to help you win your fantasy league. So, I mean, I think this team is going to be terrible this year. I think that I have this team as the worst team in the NFC.
Yeah, not much to argue with. I think Saints and Bucks, it's going to be close. You're talking about Brady versus Breeze. There's going to be a lot of close games, and it's going to be really fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Definitely should be a fun division either way.
Yeah, definitely. All right, NFC West. This is best division in football, in my opinion. Should be another bloodbath again between 49ers, Seahawks, and now maybe even the Cardinals and Rams. So what do you got for this one?
Again, like you said, it's really close. I think it's kind of a toss-up. I'm going to go Seattle, then
all right, 49ers. Get off my stream. All right, guys. So we're going to do – okay. All right, finish what you were saying.
Yeah. Then the Rams and the Cardinals. I had the Niners first, but you know me, I'm a big believer in if you have that quarterback that has that intangible quality, that elite, like – just nature, they can take you to victories. And I believe it's going to be like last year where, I mean, you know how close the Niners were last year to falling to, what was it, the 5 or 6 seed?
They were, I mean, they would have
fallen lost to the Seahawks, right?
Yeah, they would. If they lost to the Seahawks, they would have fallen. But I mean,
I think it's going to be equally close, just nudged in the other direction. It's not.
All right. I mean, I can definitely see the prediction if I'm being honest, but it's hard for me to not pick the Niners 1. And that might be biased, but I'll prove it right now why I think the Niners are going to be 1. Frankly, in my opinion, they only lost 3 starters. One of those starters was at left tackle, and they improved on left tackle. Every report says that Trent Williams has been absolutely dominant in camp. I think there was one day where Nick Bosa went 0 for 4 against him. Like, Trent Williams absolutely manhandle Nick Bosa one day, which
That
is saying
says
something.
more about Nick Bosa. Oh, what?
Defensive tackle, they added Kinlaw. I don't think that's going to be much of an improvement. I've heard some mixed reports on Kinlaw, but I'm going to believe in him. And then the last starter, I believe, is wide receiver Brandon Ayuk. I think that's a much better scheme fit for the Niners, and I think he's going to do well. Plus, I have Deebo Samuel, really good this year. I'm so high on him. I think he's going to do really well. So I got the Niners one, closely followed by the Seahawks, and this should be another game. They play each other week 17, and this should determine the division. But I got the Niners winning at home. Seahawks, I do like a lot this year. The secondary with Jamal Adams, best secondary in football if Quinn Dunbar's playing. Their offense with Russ, DK Metcalf, who I think he's going to break out, Chris Carson. I like their offense a lot. They brought back Josh Gordon. I don't know how much he's going to do, but still, I like their offense. The one thing that puts me the Seahawks below the Niners is their offensive line and defensive line got a lot worse. And being in the NFC West, where you got guys like Aaron Donald, Nick Bosa, Chandler Jones, and then you got offensive lines like the Niners offensive line, and you got guys like Trent Williams on that offensive line. I don't see it working out for Seattle with those two, and I think that's going to hurt them significantly. And like I said this before, Seattle didn't lose the Week 17 matchup because of that one play. They lost because their offensive line was absolutely terrible that game. So I think that's why I have Seattle in second. Third, it's so close between the Rams and the Cardinals. I'm going to buy the Cardinal type. Like the Seahawks, though, I'm concerned about their offensive line and secondary instead of their defensive line. But I'm gonna go with the Cardinal type on offense. And Rams in fourth. It's too close to call with those two, but I'm gonna buy into the Cardinal type, go third, and Rams in fourth place. But I could be very wrong about that. So yeah.
Yeah, not much.
All right, moving on. First of all, you got anything to say about that?
No, yeah, like I said, it's not much to disagree with. I was very close on Rams and Cardinals and Niners and Seahawks. So it's not a big I think that if it's gonna be, like I said before, can they dominate their division? And the Niners
for sure
beat the Cardinals in 2 games last year, and they split the Seahawks. Did they lose one of the Rams?
They did not. They went 5-1 in the division.
And that's kind of what concerns me, because I don't think they're going to go 5-1 in the division.
No, I have them losing. I have them losing to Seattle once and Arizona once. So
yeah, I mean, you could see them go like you said, 4-2, 3-3. I think is a better prediction for this season.
Oh, also, I just want to add one thing. Another reason why I have the Cardinals ahead of the Rams is they're always better in the division when playing division opponents. I think last year they gave the Rams a really hard time. Week 17. They beat the Seahawks, and they have the Niners number. It's so weird, but I feel like they always do so well against us. So, yeah. All right, were you saying something else?
No, that was all I had.
All right, perfect. So let's move in to the playoff predictions, standings for the NFC. So what do you got for this?
I got Dallas number 1.
Okay.
Number 1, and it's again because I believe they're going to easily destroy their division. I don't have anyone else from their division making the playoffs, so it's kind of a similar thing with the AFC West and the Chiefs, where that kind of pushes them ahead. Then I go Tampa Bay and then Seattle, just because I think that the Seahawks and the Niners could be the best team in the NFC, but because they have to play each other,
it's going to be tough.
Them at a disadvantage. I'm going to go New Orleans because they're probably going to win those games against Carolina and Atlanta, then Niners, and then Packers.
All right. Yeah, I got to say, I think Pat on Gridiron Brawl said he had Cowboys 1. I was surprised by that. And I think the reason I was just surprised is when I make these standings, I look at who is the better team overall if they play each other in a matchup, not by record. And I think that always kind of hurts me every year when doing these season predictions. And I'm doing it again this year. Fuck it, I don't care. But once again, I got the Niners. I think they are the best team in the NFC, not being biased or anything. 2 seed, I got the Saints as the 2 seed. It's going to be really close between the Saints and the Bucks for who takes that. Same with Niners Seahawks. I think that 1 seed, it's going to go to one of them. 2 seed is going to go to the NFC South. 3 seed, I got the Cowboys. Like you said, weak NFC East. I think they're going to do really well. They're going to get the 3 seed. Are they a good team, though? We'll have to see. They're definitely going to win their division, though. 4 seed Lions, I don't see them doing any much better than 10-6 maybe. 5 seed, I'm going to go with the Seahawks. As I said, I think they're going to be either the second or third best team in the NFC behind the Saints and Niners. 6 seed Bucks. And the 7th seed, I'm going to go with Minnesota here. Another NFC North team. As I said, there are going to be 2 NFC North teams in this playoff picture, and I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to go with Minnesota as my 7th seed.
Yeah, we actually have very similar.
Yeah, really similar. We have only one team is – you have the Packers in, I have the Vikings in, and then the 1 through 6 is just mixed up a little bit. So very similar for that. And in the AFC, we only have
Colts.
Oh wait, no, we have 2 teams different.
Oh,
so.
the Titans, right?
Yeah, Titans and Colts. You have Patriots and Texans. So, all right, moving on. Playoff predictions, game predictions. So, what do you got, Jake?
2v7. I'm going Tampa Bay.
Yep, easy pick in my opinion.
3v5. That's going to be Seahawks.
No, Seahawks Niners.
Oh,
gotta pick the right team, man. You know what I'm gonna do if you pick the wrong team.
I do have the Niners winning that game.
Okay, good.
I think when it comes down to a single matchup, they're gonna overwhelm them.
Yeah, for sure.
4v5, I have the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might want to check my seeding because I did this before.
So you got Cowboys, Niners, and Bucks Saints.
Okay, yeah, I flipped them. I have the Niners beating Dallas, and then the Saints.
I think that's a good prediction. Saints and Bucks. So Niners, Saints, NFC Championship. Saints. Who you got winning that? In New Orleans? Okay, you got the New Orleans Saints. So you got a Chiefs, Saints, Super Bowl, and who you got winning that?
I got the Saints. I back-to-back woes. I'm wary of back-to-back teams.
Back-to-back teams. All right. I can definitely agree with that. We both have the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl, though. So, I mean, that might be saying something. So, all right, for me, 2v7 Saints, Vikings. I think the Saints finally figure out the Vikings, and they beat the Vikings. They play each other Week 16 in New Orleans, so I think that will be good for the Saints to build off of. Cowboys, Bucks. I gotta go with the Bucks here. I like the Bucks a lot this year. As I said before, Seahawks, Lions. Again, I don't see the Lions doing much other than winning the division, so I got the Seattle Seahawks winning here. So that would be Niners, Bucks, and Saints, Seahawks. So in my opinion, those are the 4 best teams in this conference. All I would not be surprised if all 4 of those teams are above 11-5.
Yeah, the only difference we have is Seahawks versus Cowboys in the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. But anyways, Niners, we got Niners, Bucks. I'm going to go with the Niners here. And Saints, Seahawks, I'm going to go with Seattle here. Actually, I think I said New Orleans on – or no, we didn't do this this part on my other stream. But I'm going to go with Seattle there. I think they're going to be able to figure it out against New Orleans. Even if their offensive line or defensive line isn't good, I think they'll be able to figure it out. And I think it's going to be a Niners, Seahawks. Oh, wait, I put Seattle. Okay, I meant to write Seahawks just to keep it organized. But I think it's going to be the Niners are definitely going to want vengeance for what happened in 2013, I believe it was. And they're going to I have the Niners going back to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl rematch, Niners, Chiefs. This year, I got my San Francisco 49ers taking it home. They're definitely going to want to win. Obviously, they're going to want the vengeance against the Chiefs. And I got them doing that. I think they improved. I wouldn't say improved is the right word, but they kept – both teams kept relatively the same team. And I think the Niners learned from their mistakes last season against the Chiefs, and I think they take it home this year.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I don't see the Niners winning in a matchup between the Chiefs and the Niners, but that's just me.
It was close last year, so
I'm not saying that it won't be close.
I know. It's all I would honestly, there's so many options you could go for the Super Bowl. It's probably just my bias saying Niners, but I do think they can win against the Chiefs. So all right, now we're on to the awards. So we got 15 minutes until kickoff. Let's try to breeze right through this. Jake, let's start off. So we got Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year for both leagues, and then MVP. So Jake, what you got?
Okay, Jonathan Taylor, Colts running back.
Easy pick, in my opinion, too. I got that too. I'll just put that down right now too. I think that's an easy pick. We both love Jonathan Taylor.
Damon Arnett, Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's hard to find a really talented guy, AFC Rookie of the Year. I think that Arnett, he's got that starting job for Vegas now, I guess. If he shows out, he's definitely going to get the snaps to prove he's the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, for sure. And let's just do this simultaneously. So I'll pick one, you pick one. Yeah. It was so close for me between Arnett and Patrick Queen because I love Arnett and he's looking so good in camp. But I'm going to go Patrick Queen. I do think he is a bit more talented. I like his situation a lot more. You're a linebacker in. I mean, I just like his situation a lot more. Again, easy schedule. Meanwhile, Arnett's got to go up against Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton twice a year. So it might be kind of hard for him to do as well as I think he'll do his rookie year. So, yeah, I got Damon Arnett finishing in a close second place next to Patrick Queen.
Yeah, is this AFC
Offensive Player of the Year?
I had a tough time deciding this, but I decided to go with Baker Mayfield because if I'm keeping true to my predictions.
Are you being dead serious?
Yeah.
Wow. That came out of left field. Okay, no, I want to hear it. Go ahead.
And, well, to be honest, I picked a different MVP, and you know who it is, Patrick Mahomes. I just didn't want to he could easily be the Offensive Player of the Year as well, but I didn't want to put him in again, and I think he was one of my sleepers, bold predictions. I mean, if you have Cleveland second in that division, making it to the Final Four, I think there's a good shot that he makes it.
Yeah, I mean, you said at least at first it was going to be a Chiefs-Browns AFC Championship, but they played each other, so that wouldn't happen. So that is, I disagree with that a lot. I think Baker needs to prove himself. I think there's a lot more worthy guys that are better than Baker Mayfield that would win this award. My guy's another AFC North guy. It's not Ben Roethlisberger. It's Lamar Jackson. I think teams are not going to be able to figure him out yet. So I got him winning this award. I'll get to my MVP later because it's an NFC guy. So, yeah. But I got Lamar winning this award. I don't think teams are going to figure him out just yet. All right, Defensive Player of the Year for the AFC. What you got?
Defensive Player of the Year, I got TJ Watt.
There you go. We both got TJ Watt. That's
TJ Watt as well. Yeah, their offense is going to be their defense is going to be so dominant. I think he's the building block. Him and Fitzpatrick work well together. And if they keep up what they did in the second half of last year, it's going to be hard to keep him off that Defensive Player of the Year grind.
Yeah, I love TJ Watt this year. I love their defense. There's a lot of guys that I have to stop. So I think TJ Watt is going to be that guy that it's going to be hard for teams to stop him. And I think at last season, he's improved every year, in my opinion. And I think this year he's going to become that player that was his brother, like one of the best defensive players, if not the best defensive player in football. TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. Love that pick. Let's move on to the NFC. What you got?
This one, it's not super hard for me. I considered Lamb. I considered Swift. But no, I definitely am going Burrow. I know it's a boring pick, but it's probably –
Burrow's in the AFC.
Oh, then I meant to say Burrow for AFC Rookie of the Year. But it's like if you're a starting quarterback, it's so boring. I mean, you saw Murray win it last year, and it was – yeah, but he didn't have that good a season. Like –
yeah,
it was kind of a meh pick. I guess then I'll go CeeDee Lamb.
All right. The only reason, so here's, all right, go ahead.
If their offense is potent, I could definitely see him putting together a solid campaign, maybe 800, 900 yards. I don't know if it's super likely, but there's not a ton of other big names with Swift being overtaken by AD on the depth chart.
Mm-hmm. Here's my thing about CeeDee Lamb is just there's so many weapons in that Dallas offense. I don't know if he's going to get the target. So it's a bit of a risk for me to put him there. But I'm going to get one safe pick right here. That's Cam Akers of the LA Rams. And I love Cam Akers a lot. Last year in Florida State, he was behind arguably, like, statistically one of the worst offensive lines in college football history. And you're going to the Rams, and they don't have that good of an offensive line. So I think Cam Akers is going to do really well. People are saying, oh, he's in a committee with Darrell Henderson, Malcolm Brown. Darrell Henderson sucks. Malcolm Brown is nowhere near as good as Cam Akers. So Cam Akers is going to be the workhorse back there probably. And I think I have him winning NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I think that's a pretty safe pick, considering also the NFC West, not so good run defenses in that division. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Defensive Rookie of the Year for the NFC.
Yeah, I'm weighing my options. I had a couple for AFC that I was choosing between. NFC, I'm gonna go Brown, Derek Brown, D tackle. I think. I mean, he's a run stopper, and if he proves himself as a pass rusher, I think he could easily win it.
Yeah, I like Derek Brown, but there's one guy I like a lot better, and that's Jeff Okudah. Most NFL-ready player in this draft, in my opinion. As I said, I think the Lions are going to do really well, and I think he's going to be a big part to their success because I think a lot of people are really doubting their secondary. But I think Jeff Okudah is going to ball out this year and help the Lions make the playoffs. So I got Jeff Okudah as my Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Offensive Player of the Year for the NFC. I have, and then I just did a bunch of sleeper picks because you said let's do some bold predictions. I have either Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff. I think
Goff. Okay.
Because if the Rams do make, it's another thing where if they do make a run, it's gonna be you look to those players who are leading those runs on the surprising playoff teams, and I don't have them making the playoffs, but I could easily see them pulling it off. I mean, they were decently close last year. What, they finished 8-8 or 9-7?
Yeah.
So either Stafford or Goff.
Are you gonna pick one or?
Yeah, let's do Stafford. I mean,
okay. I like that pick a lot. I think Matthew Stafford's gonna do really well. My NFC Offensive Player of the Year is also my MVP. That's Russell Wilson. I don't think you can go wrong there. I think he's going to improve. Well, I don't know if he's going to improve a lot, but he's going to ball out this year. And I haven't taken home his first MVP and winning NFC Offensive Player of the Year, leading Seattle to an NFC Championship game where they ultimately lose to the Niners. But yeah, Russell Wilson, Offensive Player of the Year and MVP, which just leaves us with Defensive Player of the Year. Who you got?
Jamal Adams.
All right.
I could see them. If the Seahawks defense is good, I could see him leading them to some victories and potentially
for sure
putting the team on his back and doing what Russ does for the offense. And that could actually reward him with the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's definitely a great – I like that prediction a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him do it. This guy who I'm going to pick, I'm also obviously not surprised to see if it happened. I'm going to go with Aaron Donald. Pretty safe pick. The interior line for every NFC West team has been a bit concerning this year. I mean, the Niners probably are the most solid, but right now there's some question with injuries. There's always been injuries on that interior line, especially at the center position. And then the Cardinals, they cut A.Q. Shipley, which made no sense to me. And the Seahawks interior line is not really that good, in my opinion. So, yeah, so I got Aaron Donald, Defensive Player of the Year. So that does it for predictions. We got 5 minutes until kickoff. You got one bold prediction for the season. What is it?
One bold prediction. I gave you like 100 bold predictions. If I didn't whittle it down to one, I'm saying Matthew Stafford, MVP in the National Football League.
I like that a lot. My bold prediction, I'm going to stick with the Detroit Lions. I'm going to say Kenny Golladay leads the league in receiving yards. And what, you don't like that?
I think it's such a hotly contested position with Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, all those guys. I think that it's going to be tough for a guy. I think he's going to have a really solid season, but I don't know if he's that type of guy, and the Lions have that type of offense to provide number one wide receiver stuff.
All right, fair enough. I mean, I that's my bold prediction. Obviously, it's a bold prediction. So, yeah. All right, you got anything else to say before we head out?
No, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. It's great having you on as always. Guys, football is back in 4 minutes. We're going to head out. Again, make sure to follow us right here, right here. Check out Gridiron Brawl. We did the same thing over there. Subscribe to the Brawl Network YouTube channel, and we will see you guys next time. Go Niners.